We're starting off high.
We can get
I
a two fools agree on that one. Oh, by the way, look, we got the wide shot.
There was you had accountability. Now what I can
Now all you need is a podcast and a YouTube channel.
No, not even.
Where give me the money. Show me the money.
Apparently there's a Foolproof page.
Shoot the J. Shoot it. Live on Facebook.com/Foolproof Entertainment Network. I need you on Twitter. I need you to repost the Facebook pages.
To raise a human before I would
Trust a human to raise a pack of wolves?
before I would trust a pack of humans to raise a wolf.
Right. I hear you. Yo, what up, fools? Welcome to another edition of Do Fools Agree. As always, I'm your host, Michael Reggie, here with my main man, Clifford Jordan Jennings.
Isms and jisms.
Tisms and jisms. I just almost got killed by my non-alcoholic beer over here. Shit just exploded. What the fuck was that, dude?
So what was the point?
You know?
What's the point of the non-alcoholic?
Right? Shit, I don't know. I don't know. I almost died.
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
Have you ever seen that? Has anybody in the audience ever seen that before? Like, you open a beer and it just pops.
I don't even
what
know.
What the fuck?
It seemed like it busted from, like, the seal. Like,
well, it almost seemed like it was like a champagne bottle kind of deal.
I don't know what that was. Blame it on the Russians.
I mean, that seems to be popular right now, so I'll go with it.
Blame it on the Russians.
Putin's fault.
Unpopular opinion.
Uh-oh.
It started off real spicy. Like, I can see why they feel the way that they feel, though.
Why?
The Russians feel the way that they feel.
About
Ukraine? Right. Like, you keep encroaching on our territory.
Are they, though?
Not Ukraine.
Right.
But NATO as a whole, yes.
Yeah.
They have been for years.
Yeah.
And this is just another one that they're adding, potentially attempting to add to the list. After a while, Russia got to be like, y'all ain't about to surround me.
Right.
I'm going to start swinging before you surround me.
I hear what you're saying.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm for anything that's going on.
No, I mean, because at the end of the day, like, their justifications or whatever are not real justifications.
Right. No, that's definitely wild. It's all definitely wild.
I think the problem is that we've gotten to a point in world history where people feel like the boundaries are the boundaries. And you've talked about this before. People got too comfortable.
I've talked about this whole World War III situation, and it popped off, a year before I said.
Yeah.
I think I said 2023 we'll see a world war.
I mean, it's possible. I'm curious to see.
Oh, well, I guess it hasn't popped off worldwide yet.
No. But the question is, what's the response? Because right now it's sanctions. Like, and even when it comes to sanctions, like, and I think Biden talked about this in his address, like, we could kick them off of financial networks, which would be devastating to their, like, economy.
But they've also been in deals with China as well,
and everybody else.
China can pick them back up.
True.
Where we cut them off.
True.
So then
you're also just pushing them closer to China, which is another authoritarian regime.
Right. Now the question is, I don't know, I guess the question is, does anybody else toe the line, right? Because
I mean, other than the US?
I mean, other than anybody.
Because we kind of go in wherever the fuck we want.
Right, but I feel like I heard it best described on the Flagrant 2 podcast, and Andrew Schultz described it. He was basically saying, Ukraine's not cripping. You feel me? Like, everybody else got down with NATO.
Right.
They're
True.
affiliated with NATO. They're involved with NATO.
But
You're just
not
an affiliate.
Right. They didn't sign into. They didn't
right.
sign
So
on.
as an affiliate, it's not the same as you being in the gang with me.
Right.
Somebody messes with you and we're in the gang together. I have no choice but to assist you.
Yeah, and they've talked about that a lot, being treaty bound to assist.
But since just because we're allies, that doesn't mean you're down with us.
Right.
So.
Well, and I'm sure there's...
The most we can do is give you some guns, you know? Like.
Right. Well, we'll fund things behind the scenes,
right.
but we're not going to be caught putting boots on the ground for you.
Right, right. And I mean, that makes perfect sense, you know? I mean, but Ukraine's been holding it down, though.
See, I haven't been following it as much as I should be.
Ukraine has
but
definitely been holding it down. Like Russia thought that they was just going
to walk in.
And Ukraine was like, we've been waiting on you.
Yeah.
Cause you ain't heard of the ghost of Kiev?
No.
So it's a fighter pilot. Nobody knows who it is. They call him the ghost of Kiev. It's a Ukrainian fighter pilot who took down 6 Russian jets by himself and just flew off, and nobody can identify who it was that did it, and they're calling him the ghost of Kiev. But I'm saying that
because it's an American-owned drone that just didn't get caught.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if it was unpiloted, you know, but it didn't look like.
It looked like it was.
It looked like somebody was in that motherfucker the way they were flying it.
Okay. No, I didn't see that.
But even I just been watching World Star goes crazy on the graphic videos. Yeah. So they're showing the aftermath of all the convoys that Ukraine has hit, and they've hit at least 3 of them that they've shown on World Star, and it's been like, damn, Russia, when you gonna swing back?
Right.
You know, you're getting beat on now.
Did you bring a knife to a gunfight?
Right, at least from the looks. From the looks of things. Now, you know the news source isn't gonna cover everything.
No.
You know, but from the looks of things, it's listen, they were waiting on you.
Yeah.
They weren't just, listen, they knew you was coming, because they had one video where it was just a compilation of, what do you call it? It's the infrared satellite imaging of them targeting the convoys and dropping bombs on them. And it was the compilation was probably 5 different ones they hit. And I've seen 3 different videos like that.
Interesting. See, that's what's interesting. When you look at the major kind of world news, it's clear that the global liberal media is all about Russia's purely an aggressor here, and they are. They're the aggressor. Right.
They're definitely the aggressor.
But it's also making it seem like Ukraine has no shot. Beaten up on. Yeah.
Listen, the Klitschko's, the old heavyweight champions back in the 90s, have left to enlist in the Ukrainian war. Alexander Usyk, which is currently he's not undisputed, but he holds
a title.
2 different titles.
Okay.
So he's a unified champ. He left his place in the title to go back and fight for the country as well. So I say that to say this, basically what I'm getting at is not taking anything away from them being heroes, because you are, if you can walk away from millions of dollars to do that, regardless of the circumstance, even if you're on the winning side. But that leads me to believe that you're better off than portrayed.
Yeah.
Because nobody's going to leave millions to go to walk to death.
War, right.
Knowingly, I'm going to die, I'm just going to go back and fight. Nobody's doing that. I don't care how much
you see who's not doing
that.
You see, Alex Ovechkin isn't going to fight Putin's war. Did you see that they basically tried to ramrod him? Capitals, Washington Capitals.
Yeah,
hockey.
The NHL dude.
Yeah.
It took me a minute to connect. He's on the the road to breaking a few of Wayne Gretzky's records. He ain't about to leave.
Right? No shit. Well, and I mean, like, I feel bad for the dude in the sense that.
What are they doing to him? Like saying you should go and...
No, I mean, they're basically like trying to press him for, like, what's your opinion on this? They're basically trying to corner him into basically, like, talking down about Putin when his family still lives in Russia. Like, y'all need to back the fuck off of him and just leave him alone, because if he does slip up and say something that's anti-Putin...
I mean, but he knows.
Or even if it could be... I understand that. But, like... What the fuck? Like, what does the media have to gain from getting an NHL player's opinion on something?
The media is the only thing more corrupt than the politicians themselves.
I actually don't
expect them to care about your people's well-being. That's not what they get paid to do.
Right.
So they're gonna, they're good. They want you to slip up.
See, that's where, like, and I mean, we're part of the problem with our own, like, sports podcast, but, like, sports used to be about sports.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and honestly, the downfall of sports in the last 10, 15 years has been because we're too much in fucking people's business. Like, he's an athlete. Let him be an athlete. Right. That's what you can talk to him about.
I'm not a politician.
Like, right.
You see, I hold a stick, not an AR. I don't know. You're asking the wrong guy.
Exactly.
That's all you gotta say, though. Like,
it's true.
People are. It's life. That's life. Motherfuckers are always gonna bait you, regardless of the consequence. Whether it be a family getting killed because they're in Russia, or losing your job because you said the wrong thing in an interview. Yeah. It's constantly. I wouldn't be surprised if the producer wasn't like, ask him, because you know how much of a story it would be if his parents get killed and we're the first ones to put it out.
Right.
I wouldn't be shocked if they were baiting him into getting that headline.
Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong.
So, I mean, I'm not saying that it's not wrong, but nigga, it's up to you to be smarter than that.
True.
It's up to you to be smarter than that. When you got paid those millions of dollars to fucking deke that puck across the ice, it also came with a what do you call it? Like a publicist training.
Yeah.
A training on what you can and can't say, can and can't do.
That's what your PR person's for.
Listen, and if they didn't pull the plug on the interview, it's up to you to be the man at that point and be like, I plead the fifth.
Right.
That has nothing.
I have nothing to say
at the moment
about that.
I'm here for hockey, whatever the case may be. But.
And I mean, his team has done a decent job. Like, the team did insulate him in, like, the day of and the day immediately following the start of all that shit.
You just can't be mad at a snake for being a snake.
True.
Snakes are snakes, and that's what the media is.
The scorpion and the frog. I'm a scorpion. It was in my nature.
Oh, yeah, okay. Nah, right. Listen, I mean, you already know how I feel about it. It's humans. We're animals. You talk about in a motherfucker's nature. It's definitely in ours.
Yeah.
Think of the most vicious animal in the world. A great white, a lion, a tiger, a rhinoceros. A human is the worst.
No doubt.
Of all of them.
Because all of the other ones, you know the intent.
Right. Regardless of how treacherous nature may seem.
Right.
Humans are the worst.
The intent is always clear.
Right. Humans are the worst. So, I mean, you gotta operate the same way.
I guess to an extent, like, dolphins and whales will play with their food too. Meaning, they're the intelligence of those particular creatures has been noted in terms of. But at least they
still eat it.
True.
We'll play with our kill and just leave it to rot. That's all I wanted. I'm not even hungry. So shit, I mean, let a snake be a snake. And I guess we're part of that. We might not be the head of it, but we're definitely close to the tail.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that I would ever put anybody in a position like that for views, likes, or, subscribes.
Right.
But in a sense, we are a part of that snake.
Because you guys talk about off the field stuff and.
Nigga, you too. You're in this
I do too.
We ain't even talking about sports. We talking about in
in
general.
this?
Everything that we talk about consequently has an effect on someone.
True. Well, in theory, true.
In theory, of course, but that's what I'm saying.
Most people just fucking ignore us.
And as you should. Listen, I'm not nobody that's saying you should listen. And I mean, if you get entertained, then listen.
I mean, what's funny is, so Sam, who's been on the show before,
right?
My cousin that came on and schooled us a little bit on LGBTQ, all that. Mm-hmm. She was texting me last week just about our episode with Mr. Fox, and like
the most recent one.
Yeah, the one talking about like virtue signaling and that stuff. And she was like, I don't think that's really virtue signaling. Like she went on a 10-page rant via text message back to me, and I'm like, you're not wrong, but if you want to talk about your viewpoints, come back on the show.
Right, right. I don't use those words. You feel me?
Yeah.
Those words.
Well, and that wasn't directed at you. That was directed more that Matt was the one that had called it virtue signaling in terms of.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know what that's called.
Yeah. But she was agreeing with you.
Right.
And it was more.
People just think if you do the bare minimum, that's enough.
Right.
And it's not.
No.
Not if you want to be a viable part of humanity, right? Because the humanity part is the empathy, the knowing that by me,
otherwise we are animals.
I mean, we are anyway, and I think that's the issue that we have as humans, is that we try to separate ourselves from, when in all actuality we are.
Right.
We are. We have to embrace the monster in order to control it.
Yeah. Well, and I think we've talked about it too. Like, I mean, I know I've said this before around human arrogance. Arrogance is to think that we are better than we are.
To think we're better than the animals around us.
Right.
Like,
why? Because we've mastered our environment and we change our environment?
Nah, because we can speak and we have opposable thumbs. We're better than everything else.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I feel like if you acknowledge the fact that you have that animal in you, it's all the more better for everybody.
Right.
Because nobody is.
Well, it comes back to the Gom Jabbar.
It's what?
Dune.
Okay.
Put your hand in the box. An animal will chew its hand off.
Right.
When it feels that level of pain.
Mm-hmm.
Can you overcome it knowing that pain is fleeting?
Right. Right. It doesn't last forever.
Right.
That's the thing with emotions and all that. Like, we just have to understand that it doesn't last forever.
No doubt. And I think that, that's something that, honestly, I think that takes life experience to get over too. Like, being able...
I agree.
This comes back to the whole event plus response equals outcome. And again, that's a big, and I'm sure he didn't invent it, but Urban Meyer talks about that shit all the time. Or did when he was coaching college football. Like, you can't control the things that happen to you or around you.
Right.
What you can control is how you respond, how you view things, how you frame things. And this is something that I talk to, people that report to me at work about. Like, no, I don't care that they don't like you. I'm sorry that bothers you. You can't control how someone feels about you. How are you going to respond in the face of that is the question.
Right.
Are you going to stoop down to their level and get snippy back or be bitchy back? Or are you just going to either let it roll or beat them at their own game? Like, I mean, at the end of the day, the chess pieces even from a corporate America standpoint, it's, if you've got somebody that is just not either good at their job or gets too defensive or can't see the bigger picture, the key is to put them on blast without them realizing they're on blast. Like, point all of the directions to, this was the issue, not this person, this event, this action, this outcome that happened. Who was the person most directly responsible for that outcome? I'm going to let y'all figure that out and sort that out. Because usually it's pretty fucking clear. And this kind of goes back to even what I've talked about, in my personal life. Like, someone's life got infinitely easier, someone's life got infinitely harder. If that doesn't tell you the story of the way things were, nothing will. And now I've stumped Cliff.
I don't know if I'm stumped so much as...
In disagreement? Let's hear it.
I'm not in disagreement, but I guess what popped in my head is kind of deep.
Okay.
And I was trying to find a way to say it without sounding wild.
Okay.
But I guess in a way that kind of, and I wouldn't be surprised if there isn't a correlation between the structure of corporate America but I feel like that sounds kind of slave ownerish. Like, I feel like that's, and I'm not equating that to white and black. I think of it in the sense of the Vikings when they whipped the motherfuckers that rowed the boats. Like,
right.
Like, it's like, I'm gonna, and I know it's not meant to be this way in corporate America.
By the way, it only took us 101 episodes for Cliff to call me a slave owner. But
no, and I'm not saying you. I'm saying that motto of thinking, right? Because...
No, your first goal is always to elevate, like, a rising tide raises all ships. That is always should be your first goal.
Right.
The question is, when you find the weak link in the chain and that weak link continuously causes you problems.
Well, see, I guess that's the difference between me and you. Well, not me and you per se, but
the us's and thems.
Right, is that the weak link has to go.
I agree.
I'm not going to try to strengthen you.
I agree.
There is no let me try to in a roundabout way show you you're the problem. No, you are the problem. Whether you see it or not is on you.
Right.
But you got to go.
No, I agree with that. But I think what I was speaking was not necessarily about the person who's the problem. It's the people who are the decision makers that can resolve the problem.
That makes sense. Now, the only reason why I was saying
because you're not always in power of controlling. Like, for me, it's peers who underperform. But I don't have firing around those peers.
Right. And the only reason why I equated it to the slave thing is because that was how it was back in the day. Like the one who would cause problems would ultimately cause problems for everyone.
Right.
So it made it to where the slaves would out their own people in order to avoid the problem.
Yep.
And that's what that sounds like. I think that
I hear what you're saying.
I think that's also why a lot of black people don't tell.
Yeah.
Because even when I'm especially in work situations, even when I'm in a situation where I'm caused more work by someone that's cutting corners, I still don't tell anybody about what so-and-so did.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it's on you. Right?
Yep.
You hired the motherfucker.
You need to be the one to see it.
You made the mistake. I'm not going to be the guy to be snitching on a motherfucker trying to get a paycheck. That's your job to find out who that weak link is and do what you want. And then by the time you frame it to where we point fingers, I don't need to.
Right.
I've already known it's you.
Yeah.
You should be the only one pointing. I'm just sitting back collecting my paycheck.
Right.
But I can't see myself being the person that's like, and I get frustrated a lot too, like, this motherfucker is causing me so much extra work. But I'm the person that will speak to you before I ever speak to them.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you are right, I do have a very us versus them mentality, and I much rather elevate the people on my level than assist you in elevating yours.
Completely agree. And I get that. And from that standpoint, that's also why most of my energy when it comes to talent, especially talent that doesn't directly report to me, is praising the good behaviors that I see and not necessarily going after bad behaviors. Like,
that's another thing.
This person do a phenomenal fucking job. I don't know why they're not running more shit for you.
And see, that's another thing that I know they probably don't like about me, because I kill that shit immediately. Like, don't put me in that. Like, I don't care if I did something great. Like, don't put me in an email. If you want to show me that you're thankful, give me a raise.
Put it in my paycheck.
Right, but don't put me out
and
there like...
that's where, and I agree with that too, like, the big thing that I'm running right now.
Because that's what you're doing. Essentially, you're using me to out the person that isn't doing that.
Which is fair. Like, I hear what you're saying. I do both. So not only do I... Not only do I heap the public praise on that person, especially if that person is not liked by their peers because they make their peers look bad just by comparison, I also fight for them behind the scenes.
Right.
Like, the 3 people that... I mean, I'll put this out there. There are 3 people that I ensured saw top of the line when it came to bonus time.
Right.
And there are 2 people I ensured didn't see anything when it came to bonus time.
And I mean, and that's very fair. Because I feel like you should be worth, you know what I mean?
Right.
You should work worth your pay. And if you're not doing anything, you should be lucky I'm still allowing you to have a job, let alone the fact you can get a raise.
Pay for performance. I am a firm believer in pay for performance, merit-based pay.
Now, it's funny because with all that being... Nah, I can't say that.
And the stuff that I'm working with doesn't have, like, hard metrics associated.
Right. See, all my shit has
is metric
very hard metrics. One mistake ruins the whole process if you're not paying attention. So it's very easy for someone to cause you extra work if you know what you're doing.
Right.
And I'm not the kind of person that can sit there and look at it and be like, I'm going to just leave this like this for that. I have to go back in there and fix it.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know, like... But what it comes down to, my thought immediately when you said that was, that's exactly why I have to find an out before I get to a point where I'm being looked at for management.
Yeah.
Because the bottom line is, I'm not going to do it the way...
Well, and here's the flip side with that. Like, and it's funny because I've, early in my career, I didn't understand that, but I'm starting to, from the standpoint that, like, not everybody wants to be a manager. And you still need that top tier kind of like individual contributor.
Right.
That is just going to come in, get their job done, and that's all they want to do.
Right.
Like, there is such a pressure, and I think this comes from, like, the overall corporate culture of we always have to do more, we always have to do more, we always have to be better than last year, like that whole mentality, that capitalist mentality. You don't, though. Like, if you have a solid year, you should be able to just have another solid year. Like, it doesn't have to be incrementally better. If you deliver the same results, everyone's still making money. What's the problem?
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, but I mean, I also understand I would be more of the wanting to be incrementally better as well.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is you can be better, like, you can continue to improve your skill set as an individual contributor without being in a leadership position.
Right.
Like, I have people on my team right now who I think are good at their jobs, great at their jobs even. I wouldn't put them in a leadership position.
Well, I mean, very rarely are you in a situation where...
I mean, just because somebody is good at their job doesn't mean that they're a good leader.
Right. Very rarely are you in a situation where you can be the guy that, or girl, or they, or whoever, that does their job and expects to make a good living.
Right.
Because most places are promotional based.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you might get a yearly increase, but that doesn't add up to shit if you don't take that.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't line up with inflation.
Right. You could work for 40 years and you still may not incrementally for that year increase make as much as you would if you took that GM position or whatever the case may be.
No, that's true.
And it's like, well,
because usually corporate structure anyways, there's a band. whatever your role is, there's a band. There's a low point, there's a midpoint, and there's a high point.
Right.
And you still have to fit within that band. Now, if
right.
it's a good company, if you are already at the high point of that band for your role, they'll give you like cash bonuses for your merit instead of putting it in your salary, but that's not every place.
Right. Some places provide ownership.
Right.
I mean, but that's what I'm saying. It's like all that is the flip of a coin as well.
True.
All that is the situation you're in, the situation you were brought into. You know, a lot of people realize that they're not in the best situation after they've already built history with a company.
Yep.
You know, and then it's harder to leave. That's definitely not me, because I'll tell a motherfucker fuck you in a second. So I'm not saying that in reference to myself.
But you can get trapped in like the wrong department or the wrong organization. It's funny. Like, there is a woman at my work who brought me into that company. She and I worked together previously at the ad agency. She brought me over to where I'm at now.
Right.
Somewhere along the line, I passed her up.
Right.
I think she's just as talented, just as good a leader, just as good as XYZ.
Right.
I was in a position where there was room for growth. There was room in the organization for people to move up the chain. She wasn't.
Right. It's all situational, and my whole thing is, I don't give a fuck who you are or what you provide. I'm not going to row for the rest of my life.
Right. I hear you.
Period. For anybody. I'll die early before I row for the rest of my life, and I swear to Bob when I say that.
Yeah.
I'm not rowing for the rest of my... I'm not built that way.
Right.
So, I'm not in a position... Like, I know, like, my mom and them may clap when they hear about a promotion. I don't give a fuck. I just need the means.
Right.
I will much rather wash the toilets in your facility...
If it meant a bigger
what it
paycheck.
Is you're asking me to do. Right.
Right.
If the means are there.
Yeah.
And I think that's going back to somewhat of that conversation we had with the whole interview situation. Or it might have been the episode before when I said I'd much rather want to hear it from my father.
Yeah.
Because
you two are more alike in terms of how you
he
think.
understands me.
Right.
And I'm not saying my mother doesn't understand me, but she doesn't fully. You only understand me to a point.
No, I agree with that.
Which is why when you give me, I guess, your guidance or your opinion of a situation, I'm kind of still looking at it
it's
like,
not as
but
meaningful.
Yeah, that's you. That's not me.
Yeah.
That's coming from you. That's
we don't value the same things.
Right,
basically.
right. So it's not as important to me as it is to you.
Yeah.
I just need the cash.
Right.
And you're saying that I have to play the game to get it, so I'm playing along.
Right.
But once...
I mean, that comes back to even when we had Mike on.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll play along, but as far as succeeding in it, that's almost like the conversation we had where nobody should be too rich. Now I'm approaching a line where it's like, okay, once you cross this line, you're losing yourself now.
Yeah.
Now you're not yourself anymore. You have to be this to be that.
Yep.
And I'm not willing for any job that they have out there to do that.
I hear you. No, I think that's fair.
But I fucked a Ukrainian girl.
Did you?
So I definitely think we should... Oh, no, I'm serious. So
okay.
I definitely think we should protect them.
I keep trying to swipe right on the Russian models and I get nothing.
Listen. That's because you calling them Russian. Like, bitch, I'm Ukrainian.
Speaking of Russian models, watching the Inventing Anna on Netflix.
What's that? Inventing Anna.
Anna Delvey, Anna Sorkin was big in the news like towards the middle to the end of the Trump regime, that she was either like a Russian spy or was like some heiress. Like,
I know you're talking
nobody could figure out like how she got to the position that she got to, basically.
I know exactly.
And so I'm like 3 episodes in, so I don't know. I still don't know is Anna real or not, but it's actually a decent show. It's got I can't remember the actress's name, but Ruth from Ozark is the main character.
Oh, so it's not like a documentary. It's a
dramatization,
okay, right,
but it's
that's
historical fiction, I believe, is the term. But it's supposed to be that story. It's been interesting. I also picked up. I also watched the first. I think I'm caught up actually of Bel Air. Have you watched it?
No, I haven't.
I've got mixed feelings on it. Like
I don't think that's for me.
I hear you, and you're probably right. Like,
and it's not even like the Will Smith thing. It's the whole way that they're doing it now. I don't like teen soap operas.
Fair.
I don't like.
And it's definitely that.
The closest I got to that was All American.
All American.
And the only reason it helped me was because of the football.
Well, and I think that's honestly what they're trying to do with Bel Air.
Making an All-American with him playing basketball.
Yep. And then Carlton playing lacrosse.
Yeah, no, I'm not interested.
Carlton is also on drugs.
But he was in the show.
Was he?
Yeah, there was an episode where he was studying for something and he was taking the pills.
They leaned.
Will got caught with the pills in his locker and told Carlton to stop taking them.
So he
got expelled or suspended or something.
So they kind of did the same thing, except Carlton set Will up. Or it wasn't Carlton that set Will up, but like Carlton's boy set Will up. But Carlton's the one who's on whatever ADHD meds.
Yeah, it was the same thing. That was the same thing.
So I think they're picking and pulling like specific beats,
right?
But presenting it in a whole new way. And I mean, at the end of the day, like I
like the idea.
Yeah, I think it's a solid idea.
That that Degrassi style is just not for me. Though.
Well, and I think I can see things coming like a mile away in the show, and I'm betting you would be 2 steps ahead of me on it. Like,
yeah, no, right. Yeah, no, I'm good. I mean, I probably won't watch that, to be honest. That probably will never. There will never be a time where I'm so bored I turn on Bel Air. I was about to say Fresh Prince.
I mean, I don't know. Like, honestly, that's what it came down to for me, though, was that I didn't have work. What was it, Monday? Was Monday President's Day this week?
Yeah.
So I didn't have work, so like in the afternoon I popped it on. And I pretty much binge watched.
You know what I've been getting into is HBO Max has gotten me lately. I like that Peacemaker.
Oh, Peacemaker's good.
I like that.
I think I fell off after episode 4, but I think
I'm only about 3 or 4 in myself. But I did watch
John Cena, man.
He's good. He's good.
Can't see me.
He's good. I do like him. I like that show.
I like that he plays I like the fact that he's a bad guy, but he's still playing John Cena.
But he's a good guy, but he's a bad guy. He said, "Oh, you're the Peacemaker?" He said, "You're the racist one?" He said, "I kill white people too." He said, "But not as much as you kill minorities." He said, "Well, I'll do a better job of not trusting white people and I'll kill more white people for you. Can you help me or not?" I said, "Yep, this show got me."
I just like when he's railing the butterfly and she fucking flips on him.
Oh, right. And he didn't see that. I saw that coming from a mile away. You can tell from that hairstyle and the look she shot him from across the room.
Uh-huh.
First of all, that's out of date, that hairstyle. I don't know what year you were frozen in, Captain America, but if a female looks at you with a shag hairstyle in the 2000s and cut you a look.
Right.
See the drugs, so she's setting you up.
Right, man. No doubt. Definitely a setup from jump.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It was good though. I liked it.
That's one I'll have to go back and
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Because I think the season finale just happened.
Did it?
Yeah. And it's probably only like 8 or 10 episodes.
Is it?
Yeah.
They are pretty long, the episodes though.
Well, that's what I like about. I mean, most of the HBO shows are about an hour long. Mm-hmm. And I go back and forth whether I like that more or the half hour, but I think the hour ones are better because you watch one and you're like, cool, I'm satisfied. The problem is when they're shorter, you watch like 3 or 4 and you're like, well, now I need to see what happens.
Well, see, that's because you can't hit all of your plot points in a half an hour, so they usually build up over a few
3 episodes. Yep.
But in an hour, you can
go through an entire story arc in an hour.
Right.
And when you hit those cliffhangers in those, it's like usually there's some sort of climax beforehand where you're like, I need a break from this for a minute.
Yeah, sometimes, yeah.
I mean, Ozark gets intense like that. This Is Us gets intense like that. I was pissed. I went to go watch the what I thought was the next episode of Ozark, only to realize that they only dropped half the season.
For real?
Yeah.
I see.
Terrible. Well, and that's the thing with like Netflix, and honestly, who is it? Or not HBO? Because HBO has always been week to week. So is Disney Plus. Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime changed their delivery model. They used to be drop everything at once too, and like Mrs. Maisel, and what was the other one that's just come out on Prime?
I'm not a big Prime fan,
but they do have like 3 or 4 shows that I'll go back for. But they changed the delivery model. Like, it's not a drop and binge anymore. It's week to week now. And I'm like, you motherfuckers.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that either. I don't know if I like that. I'm more of a binge than a week to week person.
Well, I mean, you can still binge it. You just have to wait for it then. Like, wait till it's all over.
I don't have a problem with that, depending
on what the show is.
Yeah. And that's kind of how I got with, The Walking Dead back when everybody was on the frenzy. Like, I wasn't the type that would be there every Sunday.
Yeah.
I usually wait till the season was over and try to catch it all.
That's out right now, too, the final season of that. I got to find where that's sitting.
I'm kind of all the way off of it.
I was, and then... I don't know, like, they've released stuff over the last year or so.
I haven't been into The Walking Dead since the dude killed Glenn with the baseball bat.
Okay.
And it's not that I like
Negan
Glenn.
Came in.
Yeah, it's not that I like Glenn. It's just, after that, it was just like...
Well, in, like, last season or 2 seasons ago, they did, like, a major time jump. So they basically jumped, I want to say, like 5 or 8 years.
Right, because then Maggie, like 8 or 9 or something like she's
Judith,
grown her now.
Yeah.
Right, Judith. Maggie's
the was Glenn's wife.
Right.
And so her kid is like 3 or 4 years old or something.
Is it a boy or a girl?
I can't remember. I think it's a boy.
Yeah, I'm done with Walking Dead. Now, I do like the Fear the Walking Dead, but the regular Walking Dead I'm done with. I'm over them all. Kill Rick, kill them all.
Well, and they kept saying that they were going to do, like, 3 movies with Rick. Like, he wasn't dead.
I didn't know he ever was almost dead.
That was actually the catalyst for the time jump, was something happened. Everybody thinks Rick's dead, but he was actually pulled out by somebody, and there was supposed to be, like, 3 Rick Grimes movies.
Oh, really?
That was supposed to happen. I don't know if COVID shut it down or if COVID just...
No, I think everybody just got sick of it. It's like Kevin Hart. Like, once you're seen for so much, we get sick of you.
Right.
I don't fucking want to see you every day.
No, that prime spot for, like, seasons of a show is, like, anywhere from 3 to 7. Anything more than that...
I don't even talking about the show. I'm talking about The Rock.
The Rock.
That's why that motherfucker looking to run for politics now, because nobody wants to see you anymore.
I don't know, man. His movies still do pretty well.
Man, which one?
Jungle Cruise did pretty well on Disney Plus. Dude, he was in the Super Bowl.
He was
in the Super Bowl.
Because he's needing to
Finally.
Right. The fuck?
The Super Bowl has come back to LA.
And I didn't like that either.
No, it was fucking weird. Like, why the fuck is The Rock here? Why is he introducing the Super Bowl? Dude's not even from LA. Like,
he needs a bump. He needs something on his career. He's turning into Will Smith.
Fair.
If it's not Fast and Furious, you're making dumb Journey to the Center of the Earth type. Like,
you leave Dwayne alone,
yeah,
sir.
Yeah, Jungle Book and shit. Like, nobody.
Dude, the Jungle Cruise movie is just 2 hours of dad jokes.
And then why would you do Jungle Cruise? I said Jungle Book. I meant Jumanji. Why would you do that if you already did Jumanji?
What, Jungle Cruise?
Yeah, you have three movies that are exactly the same. Jumanji, Jungle Cruise,
Jumanji 2.
The center of the... Like, they're all the fucking same, Rock.
Because they do well, man. Families love The Rock.
Next thing you know, he's going to come out with a fucking series Bel Air in this bitch. He's going to do The Rock show, but
he did. It was called Ballers.
Oh, no, I was thinking of that one. What's the one where it shows him as a child?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, next thing you know, it's going to be a dramatization of it.
I mean, that would actually do pretty well, probably.
I don't think.
You don't think?
I think we're done. I think the world's done with Rock. I think
you're done with Rock. I don't think the world's done with him yet.
I think you don't see it yet. As far as entertainment, we're done with you. We're done with you.
Did you see him at the Super Bowl, though?
I saw him.
He's fucking, like...
Yeah, he's very charismatic.
Well, charismatic, and he's fucking in shape. Like, I was wondering if he's going to show up at No, I was going to say, I'm wondering if he's going to show up at WrestleMania
If you had enough money for steroids, you would be looking like that, too. Like, what the fuck?
Nah, dude. He works out.
Yeah.
A lot.
He does. Reaching behind this, jam his ass with a needle. Yeah.
Sir, we're going to have to agree to disagree on this one.
Ain't no fucking alleged on that. That's factual. That motherfucker's
You leave Dwayne
juicing.
alone.
That motherfucker's been juicing. He used to be a butterbean in the WWE.
He was a little bit.
He was.
When he came in as Rocky Maivia.
There was no definition. He was just fat. Even his face was fat.
You're not wrong.
Then you get older, in your 40s and 50s, and start getting shredded. Sir, you're juicing.
I mean,
and I'm not judging.
He's not competing, so
right.
he's allowed to juice.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not judging, but let's not act like we don't know that there's a needle in your ass, sir. We know what's going on. There's a needle
allegedly,
in your ass.
Allegedly. The lawyer lady up there in the booth is telling me to say allegedly.
It's not alleged. That nigga's juicing. I wish he would try to sue saying, where's USADA at? Draw this motherfucker's blood. And it shouldn't be hard to find a vein.
No, because he's jacked.
The fuck? You ain't gonna play me. But yeah, no, that's why I feel like you gotta talk about your political career you may be running for in the next few years, and you're on a Tech Nine song rapping about your fucking tequila, and like it's all a reach. Like it's very Kanye.
Wait, Tech Nine's still around?
Listen, he might have killed his career letting The Rock on that shit.
Didn't kill Wyclef. Well, maybe it did.
Listen, I'm just saying, if you gotta do all those reaches, like you gotta reach like that, it's because you're understanding that didn't do that well in theaters. What the fuck was that movie with him and Kevin Hart?
Central Intelligence.
Yeah, awful.
Yeah, it wasn't good. But that's his shit. Like he's a hit or miss. And honestly, his movies usually still do well opening weekend. It's just word of mouth whether or not they do well after that.
Overseas.
Oh, no doubt.
Overseas, not here though. Over here, and it's crazy too, right? Like, I think that's exactly why you see The Walking Dead come out with their final season 5-6 years after their height.
Yeah.
Because you need a break.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers need a break from you.
You're not wrong.
When you're in the Super Bowl and in videos and in commercials, and it's like...
Well, you see actors and actresses do that shit all the time, where they disappear for 3 or 4 years, and then they'll come back and they'll have like 3 movies in the same year. So
just make sure they're not Jumanji, Journey to the Center of the Earth, and Jungle Cruise.
Sir.
This nigga made the same movie. He used the aftercuts from the same fucking movie 3 different times.
Now, I actually believe that Jungle Cruise could be cut footage from Jumanji, so I'll agree with you on that front.
The fuck? I'm not a fool. I know what the fuck's going on here.
He's like, we're going to shoot 3 movies at the same time.
You noticed Kevin Hart's short fucking ass shut the fuck up, didn't you? He shut the fuck up, and he said, let me fall back for a while, because these motherfuckers is getting real sick.
What are you talking about, fall back? He's got a show on like every 3 weeks.
What's the last Kevin Hart movie came out?
I'm not talking movie. He did True Story. He's got some like talk show out right now.
Right, he did True Story because that was the coffee beans. That was the palate cleanse. Let me change it up, because they don't like this comedy shit that I'm doing
and honestly... I'm with you there, and on top of that, I think comedic actors do dramatic shit real well.
I do too.
And it doesn't work the other way around.
It's the Tears of a Clown situation, where it's like that shit that they can resonate with that more so. It's almost like the stage persona is the act more so than the drama role is.
Yeah.
Because I have to act like I'm happy and funny when deep down I'm depressed.
Yeah.
That's why I'm a comedian. And I'm saying that's what most funny people, that's a way
to that's why you see
your pain.
Yeah, exactly.
I laugh at the most. And it to me too, like shit that people are like, that's awful. I laugh at that. Like, I can't believe that shit. That's me for you. That'll happen. And that goes back to what we said about the temporary emotion shit. If you can just laugh at it out the gate,
well, then it's going to roll off of you.
Right. So when you see the world go into this fucking lane of fake consciousness where everybody's feelings have to be accounted for, then you can only imagine why everybody's so fucking depressed.
No doubt.
Because you can't laugh at tragedy.
Right.
If you can't laugh at tragedy, you can't get through tragedy.
Well, and there's been a lot of talk about that in the stand-up world over the last 5-6 years.
I agree wholeheartedly. I don't think that... Let me stop. Let me rewind.
Put the game down, flip it, and reverse it.
Listen. Listen. I was going to say something that I didn't agree with. What I will say is, I think it's in general, not even with comedians. I think you just need to hop off a motherfucker's dick.
Yeah.
And I mean that for the cheese and the theys as well. Like, hop off a motherfucker's dick. Like, if it's not meant for you, don't look at it.
Right. There is nothing wrong with you saying, you know what, this isn't for me, and then walking away.
You know what, I'm going to say something that I know a lot of people won't agree with. Why can't a motherfucker be racist? Why can't a motherfucker be misogynistic? If that's what you want to do it.
Right.
Just do it at your own risk and at your own accord. But if that's what you want to do, Nobody should be stopping someone from doing that.
Unless you are actively causing harm.
That's what I was about to say. Unless you're a person of power that can, actually... Right. That's something different. But if you're just yelling nigger out at the kids walking through your grass, oh well, till one of the parents come by and deal with you.
Right. Right.
That's on you. Should you lose your job? Nah. Unless... You're a CEO hiring and we don't want none of these niggas in here now.
Right.
They probably didn't say it that soft, but nonetheless, that's the only reason I feel like you should lose your job. If you're cutting grass, calling people niggers in your yard, keep cutting your grass, calling people niggers in your yard.
Right. Either they'll avoid you or somebody will whoop your ass one
right.
day.
Either way,
you will say it to the wrong person and you get your ass
Either way, it shouldn't affect anybody but feelings.
Yeah.
I may be the little nigger boy that walked through your grass and you yelled it at me and it hurt my feelings. But once again, temporary.
Exactly. And we've got to learn. We've got to relearn. And it's funny because I was kind of talking about this with you earlier with regards to A-Reg in terms of like tried out for flag football.
Right.
Decided he didn't want to do flag football. And when I dug in on it, the reason he didn't want to do it was because it was hard and he didn't do well and his feelings were hurt.
Right.
I'm like, that's not a reason not to do something.
Right.
Like, if you don't want to do it, that's one thing. But if you're telling me you're not going to do it because it caused you embarrassment or pain, man the fuck up. Like, and guess what? We went out the next day, threw the ball around for a bit, and he's back on board now. And I'm like, you just need to practice, dude. You just need to try. And honestly, this comes back to the fact that we coddle people so much.
Right.
They don't know how to deal with that
right.
pain. They don't know how to deal with that rejection. They don't know how to deal with their feelings being hurt.
Listen,
the flip side of it is, and I think you and I both feel this way, I don't give a fuck. I do not give a fuck if someone doesn't like me. I do not give a fuck if I hurt someone's feelings unless it was unintentional.
If I'm keeping it a buck, 100, I don't give a fuck if my own child doesn't like me. As long as I got you on that path that I needed you to be on.
Right.
You cannot like me for the rest of your life. Just know that I love you.
Right.
And you're better off for not liking me.
That is a constant, like...
Not better off because you don't like me, but you're better off because I did the things to make you not like me.
That is a constant, like, line to my son when he gives me attitude and, like, I don't like you right now. And I'm like, you don't have to.
Right.
That's okay.
Right.
And I'm not here to be your best friend. I'm here to make sure that at the end of the day, you are a good person who can handle their own business.
Period.
My real goal is to make you somebody that I would like to hang out with when you're older.
I guess that is tough, right? Because, I would imagine that doesn't happen all the time.
Right.
And I am just that dad that would be like, I don't really even like being around you like that. Like, I love you from over there.
Well, that's not to say that we will be close when we're older, but, like, I want him to be the kind of person that I would want to keep around. You know what I mean?
I get it. Shit, even if you're not the kind of person I would like to keep around, I at least want to know that I've instilled the values in you that I can trust that you'll handle yourself on your own.
Right. Right.
If that means that you don't like me when you get older, so fucking be it.
Right.
I've been fine by myself my whole life. I would love for my child to love me, but at the end of the
Everybody
day,
wants somebody to take care of them when they get old.
I don't need that. I'm a stray dog, baby. I go to the forest to die.
Well, we did put the topic out there as Actin a Fool 101, and I think we've actually been delivering on those lessons as we've been going through today.
Have we, though? I don't think we have.
I think we have from the standpoint of you've got to be able to take a hit and keep walking. Like, you've got to be able to deal with that pain and keep walking.
I mean, I think that's just life lessons. I don't think that that's necessarily...
Not necessarily acting a fool. All right.
Yeah, I don't think that that's us teaching you how to
So how do you deal with it? How do you deal with it when you get your feelings hurt?
I mean, I don't.
When somebody says something to hurt your feelings.
That's what I think. You know, honestly, and it's not me being difficult, but I think
you're always difficult.
I think the issue is us asking how.
Yeah.
That's the issue there. How do you you just deal with it?
Right.
You just do, right? You know, the same reason why you may be nervous or hesitant to do something because you feel like you're not. Just fucking do it.
Right.
It has to be done, right? Do it.
Yeah.
That's my thing, right? Whenever I get into that situation where it's like I want to put something off or I'm nervous about making a call because of what I'm gonna hear, just fucking do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just has to be done, right? So just do it.
Right.
And then, and I know that's the words that pop in my mind because I just revert to demeaning myself.
Yeah.
You know? Like, what are you, a pussy for real? Like, are you scared? Is this your fear?
Is this what it is?
Like, are you scared of this?
Is this the one thing?
And then it's like, well, fuck it. I guess you're right. I'm not. So do it.
Yeah.
You have no choice. There is no how. Just do it.
Right.
Just do it.
I mean, really, that's what the lesson comes down to in terms of acting a fool. Like, you hate your job? Quit. Find something else.
It ain't even about that. Like, listen, I'm just in a situation where and it's crazy, right? Because we're in this generation where people have to hide their actual selves in order to feel like they can succeed
And or belong or whatever the case is.
And my whole thing is the exact opposite.
Right.
I'm not gonna hide myself, and I would much rather me not hiding myself show me what people don't want me to do than to assume myself that I don't belong here because I am this way.
Yeah. And
I'm going to walk in there and I'm going to be me, and it's up to you to say, sir, you're going to have to leave.
Right.
Or we love you. Come back next week.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, honestly, it's funny. I will put that in the context of what I'm going through right now. The number of people who told me in September, October, November that I was back to myself for the first time in years,
right,
told me something.
Right.
And that's I'm not pinning that on
I know what you're saying.
I'm not pinning that on my relationship.
It's
I'm
life.
not pinning that on anything
It's
but
life.
me, but like I stopped being me.
The responsibility of life tells you that you're supposed to play house.
Right.
You're supposed to find someone, and a lot of the times, and I'm not saying that that's wrong. It's wrong to imagine that everybody should. That
Agreed.
is wrong.
Well, and right now, it's funny. I saw a study, I think it was like 2 weeks ago. The lowest amount of people coupling off in human history right now.
They said that 40% of people in the United States haven't had sex in more than 3 months, which is the highest
The
ever.
longest amount of time that it's been
Right.
that high, yeah.
And that's what it is. It's just like people don't want to play the game anymore.
Right.
I'm not going to... Why would I go on a date with someone that I can't call sweetheart?
Right.
Or I can't say, yes, ma'am. Like, if I can't be
myself around it, why would I put myself
and that's what drives me so crazy is that we just came, we were in that generation. We just came from the generation where we got smacked in the mouth if we didn't say yes ma'am, yes sir,
right.
no ma'am, no sir.
And now it's offensive.
And now we're in the situation where somebody wants to smack you in the mouth if you say yes ma'am, yes sir, no ma'am, no sir.
Yep.
So it's like,
which is funny to me because...
why play? Why am I going to play? I'm not even going to play with you. And that's why you have people that don't want to get in relationships, that don't want to deal with sex, because we all know, unless you're paying for it, you have to court someone. Even if you get it on the first night, you still have to court them for the time leading up to. And what I mean by court is you have to play into the situation.
I agree with that to an extent. I think I've got a different perspective on it right now, just from a, like, you're not wrong.
The only way, listen, let me tell you something. I know I'm not wrong, but I know what you're gonna say, and that's the only reason why I still get butt now.
Yeah.
Because I'm not playing your game.
Right.
This is me. This is what I can offer.
Yep. And I think
If that's not enough.
Bingo.
I'm the wrong guy for you.
Bingo. Like, at the end of the day, being upfront about intentions, what you see things as, what you're not willing to do, like, setting boundaries early and saying, this is what this is. If that's not good enough for you, then move on.
It's Dennis Rodman.
Absolutely.
You can be an eccentric, colored-haired, wedding dress wearing dude, but if you're confident and you know who you are, you still attract the baddest Carmen Electras that there are. I was watching, speaking of, we were talking about shit we were watching earlier. Have you seen Steph and Aisha Curry's show?
No.
It's great. You gotta watch it. You'll love it. It's on HBO. It's called What Happened Last Night, and it's basically just like famous celebrity couples will go on the show, and it's like the dating game where the couple will wear a headset and they'll ask them a question and they gotta answer what the couple would say.
Okay.
You know,
yeah. Kind of like the Newlywed Game or whatever.
Right, and then the winner of the game faces off against the Currys at the end of the game for money for their charity type shit or whatever.
Okay.
But
so they're like the house. I mean, they're
right. They're the hosts of the show, and then at the end of the show, they give the host over to the contestants that lost, and they play with the winner.
Okay.
It's a good show though. It is very good. Like it's almost like Aaron Rodgers going to Jeopardy.
Okay.
Like, I feel like Steph just solidified.
That's what he's doing afterwards.
And beyond that, Aisha Curry wanted attention, male attention. She got it now, boy. Listen, she bad. I don't care what nobody say. I knew she was bad beforehand, but now she did it on purpose. She was like, well, I'm going to be the top notch, so I get the attention I want. So.
Move over, B. Is that what you're saying?
And I understand that, right? Like, I would want my woman to feel that way as well.
Yeah.
Like, I understood exactly what Steph was saying when he was like, nah, she's not wrong for feeling that way.
Yeah.
I'm a professional athlete. Women fall over me all day. I would imagine she would want the same with dudes.
Right.
I trust her. She's mine. She can be liked by men. I don't want a woman that's not liked by men.
You know, it's funny you say that. So that I'll put that on my inadvertent thought for the week is scrolling, swiping. Anytime I see the phrase "never married, no kids," I'm like, so no one's ever found you desirable enough? Is that what you're saying?
No, I don't know. I don't know if you can quite.
I understand you can't jump to that.
But no, that is the first thought.
It is the same. It's the thought, though, right?
It is the first thought, but it goes back to the same situation, like we said with you, with the woman who got you your job. Sometimes it's just situational.
No, I agree with that, but like, I don't know that that's. I don't know. There's an aspect of that. It's like, okay, so what the fuck's wrong with you? Now. To that same point.
That thought doesn't cross my mind as well. And I'm not going to also say that I don't always take my advice, because as much as I know it's situational,
right,
I'll still lean with you. Like, no, that still says something.
Yeah.
35, no kids, never been married, nothing.
Right. Now, I mean, every situation is different. Somebody could be super invested in their career and didn't date, or played it safe and never had kids. But like,
my person, like, I don't know if that's
agreed. If you played it that safe or have avoided connection up till that point, especially if you're in our age or older, like, I don't know that that's a selling point.
Listen, I think that I'm in the best spot that I can be in.
Shit, you and me both, brother.
Well, you're living your best life, and I'm trying to stay away. And the other reason why I say that is because, like, me saying the best position I could be in is because I know all of that I said.
Yeah.
And when I say I know it, I mean, like, I believe it.
Well, no, it's self-awareness, too.
Right, like a lot of people say shit to say shit and don't believe it, but I really believe it. So that means to me that if I ever do come across that lady I fall head over heels for, I know it's real.
Right.
Because I'm not...
Because you're not... Yeah.
It's not that I'm against a relationship. I'm just not for the bullshit. No bullshit. I don't want it. I don't even want to act like I'm more interested than I am leading up to see if this may be... No, if I'm not interested, I'm not interested. Yeah. I'm not even going to play these games with you.
Yeah.
This isn't going to work, sweetheart. I'm sorry if that word offended you. But we're going Dutch. You're paying for your own shit. And
no, I'm with you on that.
I wish you the best in your future endeavors, but I'm not doing it.
If you ain't no punk, we want prenup.
Listen.
We want prenup. Yeah.
And that's my whole thing is, what's funny is that first of all, I've never even had enough money to care about that. But at this point in life, even if I got it, I'm not interested in a prenup.
No. Because
I'm not interested in a woman. So if you interested me, the prenup's not, it's off the table, right? Now, there's also that hint of she could be gaming you. I played the game.
Right.
If she gamed me and I fell for it,
that's on me.
She deserves that.
I think the problem is that someone's already got their hands in my pockets. I'm not doing it again.
and that's crazy. And that put us in the same situation.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
I do.
As being somebody that's never had it, but I also don't count it as my worth.
Yeah.
Right? Because I have enough to be comfortable.
Right.
I have enough to where
content,
woman,
not comfortable.
Well, content, right. Not comfortable, right. Content. I have enough to where my woman would not have to work if she chose not to. But it's going to be very tight if that's the case.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, with all that being said, I can't just fall for you because you're giving me game.
Right.
Like I said, I've played it. I've been through it enough. I know when it seems gamish.
Yeah.
And if I get the gamish vibe, it may not be. You still got to go.
Right.
That's a red flag. This is not baseball. One strike and you're out. At this point in life.
Yeah.
Back in the 20s, I might give you a second chance. Right now, one thing you show me that doesn't match with what I have going, we're done.
No, I get that. I get that completely.
There's no point in wasting each other's time. We might not have much left.
Right.
So Russia's invading Ukraine, bitch.
World War III's on the table.
Right. Let's make sure we want what we want before we move forward.
Salud.
Salud.
Oh, man.
So I fucked this Ukrainian girl. No, I'm just playing. But I do have to use the bathroom.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick 3-minute break. We'll be right back here on Do Fools Agree? And welcome back.
Those are draws.
Clip just pulling out his drawers, putting them on camera.
Listen.
This is what I got, man. This is what I got.
They say never get caught without clean drawers.
I mean, that's why I stay my ass at my house.
Yeah. Just know I got some.
Oh, man. What are we talking about?
What was the show title? What was it?
Acting the Fool 101.
Okay.
So how we acting a fool, man?
Shit.
So we can take this about, like, approaching life the way we do, not saying this the right way.
Listen,
We can take this over, I don't know.
I will say...
Really, it was just a catchy title.
Right.
For episode 101.
I mean, as far as, like... I just really feel like, I mean, and not to... I know you used the... Who was it? Who was it that you used in the example?
Oh, Mitch Hedberg?
Yeah.
Get your priorities crooked. you're too straight-laced.
Listen.
I feel like we could just riff on Mitch Hedberg for
My priorities
the whole
is
episode.
very crooked from the jump, baby. But nah, I mean, as far as like just when you say something along the lines of acting a fool 101, that really just means to me that you're being yourself.
I agree with that.
And if I was to give a TED talk on acting a fool 101, I would really just say don't compromise your truth. Because we all know what this is. We all know what this is for. Life, that
Right.
is what I'm speaking of. And it isn't to be the richest motherfucker in the world, or I mean, if that's your goal, of course, but
We got enough of those.
that just means to me that you don't have a truth.
Right.
You know, like it's almost like why they say the lowest dick is in that Ferrari.
Yeah.
Because you don't have a truth of your own, so you need those things to feel whole.
Agreed.
And
Whereas I just like to feel whole. I mean, sorry.
feel holes. Shia LaBeouf over there.
Mm-hmm. Call me Shia.
Listen.
Nah.
You dig them, I'll fill them in.
You remember, who was it? Whoop used to be all about that Dig a Tunnel song from Lion King 1.5. Dig a tunnel, dig a tunnel.
Right, is that where that came from?
Yeah.
I just talked to him a while ago. That's my guy.
I think he friended me on Facebook.
Did he? Yep, he just got out.
Well, shit, let's get him on.
He ain't out
Oh,
yet.
he ain't
He's
out
in the halfway house
All
right now.
All right. He knows where the studio is.
Right. He said he was going to come through when he got out. I said, well, when do you get... I thought that the halfway house would let you out for a while. You know, like they usually... like all my experiences, they usually let you out from like 2 to 6 or 12 to 6, and you have to be back by 6.
Certain
But
time.
I remember going to getting a drink with a couple of people from the halfway house, so I don't understand why...
Maybe they weren't following the rules.
I mean, shit, they don't drug test you. Well, they drug test you. I don't think they check for alcohol, you know? Shit.
But I think that the commentary about just living your truth is important. Like,
Period. And see, that's the thing, right? Because your parents always told you back in the day about the wrongs that would happen that would make you question who you are as a person, whether it be like the first time somebody offers you drugs or, you know, things like that. And it's like, but what about the rights that have you questioning your truth?
right.
Because you run into a lot of rights that do the same thing as those wrongs do.
I agree with you there. Again, thinking that everything was done the right way and that things would work out heading into
right
a marriage.
That goes back to what I was
It's
saying about playing
thing,
house. Like
right.
you're just supposed to do it because everybody did it before you. I don't get that. Like,
no, what's funny is honestly, what drove my decision in that arena was wanting a kid. Mm-hmm. Like I wanted a son. I wanted somebody to carry on the family name because right now there isn't
apparently.
A-Reg is the only one in his generation.
Apparently, it's just as easy to have one without the marriage.
It's true.
You might even have a little more money in your pocket.
Still be paying support, though.
Yeah. Well, it depends. It depends.
No, I joked about that with somebody probably 3 or 4 months ago. She was, and I'm not talking to her anymore, so I'll talk about her here.
Her name is Katie.
No.
Heather. Beth. Lindsay. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
But, I joked with her because she was, mid to late 30s, had some genetic condition. She was pushing for a kid, and I'm like, I've been there, done that. But I joked with her at one point. I'm like, we could sign a consensual agreement, like a shared parenting plan, before we have a kid, where neither one of us is responsible for anything but our own time. I'd be open to that kind of discussion if things worked out. I'd have another one and be fine to be 50% with you. And
I should have did that. Huh?
I recommend that. So that's my recommendation. Anybody listening to the show.
Do they accept contracts on loose leaf? It does have to be typed up.
Here's the flip side. You can get a legal document about anything that's not illegal. So you could do a pre-birth shared parenting plan that basically says, I'm willing to do X, Y, and Z in the event that we conceive a child.
And the courts can do anything about that?
No. Not if it's notarized and signed by both parties.
Oh, it has to be notarized too? Well, my aunt's a notary.
Well, there you go. But I joked with her. I'm like, if it comes down to 2 years down the line and you haven't found your person, because I was not going to be that person, and I told this person that straight up. She was cool. She was very comparable to me, kind of, which was actually why I don't think it would have ever really worked out. But I'm like, in a year or two, if you're still at that point and you're having to get, she was had already had a reduction because of cancer markers and those kind of things. She's probably going to have a hysterectomy by the time she turns 40.
Right.
I'm like, if you get to 38 and a half and you haven't found someone.
You probably want to knock it out before then, just.
Well, and she's also
similar
to me from
at our age, from a high risk at the moment.
Right. But similar to me from just a job perspective, she's got her own. Part of the reason why I was interested.
Right, because
but that's what I picked. I basically told her, I'm like, you don't find anybody in a year and a half, if you want to have this chat and you want to draft up a legal document, I'm open to it.
What was her response for?
It was playful. It wasn't, I don't think it was taken super seriously, but she did bring it up later on, or a couple weeks later, hey, I think you're right in terms of we're in two different places looking for two different things right now, but.
You know what? But my whole thing is why is that not normal?
Right. Hey, I may not like you as a person. I respect your intelligence.
I like all the things about you. We just don't work.
Right. But
I would love to have
we could go to eugenics here and create a super child.
I would love my child to have that deck of cards as well.
She was 5'11", a thick girl. I'm like, okay, all right. This kid could take care of both of us at some point.
At least carry both of them.
Right. And as long as we both agree to be in the kid's life, I'm not saying it's sole custody for her. I'm like, I'd be involved.
Oh yeah, no.
As long as we're understanding that we're doing this as basically friends.
Yeah, I couldn't have a child without being involved.
Right.
Now. That's a.
But to your point, live your truth.
I just feel like I feel like we're snowflakes, right? They say that nobody's the same. Nobody's brain chemistry is the same. Nobody thinks the same. Nobody's built the same. Nobody is
because a lot of it
genetically
is
the
driven
same.
off of experiences, and even if you had big milestones that are similar, doesn't mean that you interpreted them the same way that you.
Well, I'm thinking even like twins, right? Like using the mother of my child as an example. Like you have her and her sister,
Yeah.
who couldn't be more different, right? But they're identical twins. Which lets you know that for us to be following the identical path of everyone else, it's not going to work.
Right.
It just can't. It can't work for everybody if nobody thinks the same.
Yeah.
So for everybody to think that they have to play house and find somebody and do that, like, don't get me wrong, it's nice. You know, it's nice if you do. I wish that for you.
You know,
but
the most interesting thing and her message on this still sticks with me today. We were sitting down one day and she was talking about, you know, love is fleeting. Emotions are fleeting. Relationships that last based on compatibility.
Right.
Like, do you value the same things? Do you want the same things?
Right.
And are you willing to negotiate or not negotiate on things that maybe you don't see eye to eye on? And honestly, that was the downfall of, you know, the last relationship I was in, was that I think we had similar values, not identical. I think what we valued or what we said was important in a relationship, we were on two very different pages on.
Well, I honestly think, and forgive me if I'm overstepping any bounds.
Yeah.
But I honestly think you just didn't rub one out before you went to DC.
You might be right.
Because you came back on a high.
Yeah.
I remember because I was still living here. And I remember you coming back on a high, and I was just thinking, like, I mean, that's good. That's what's up, right? But at the same time, I know...
It wasn't DC. It was when the commitment was made for her to move here after DC.
Okay.
I should have recognized red flags at that point.
Okay. Well, I mean, you would know better than I. I'm just saying, I know as a man...
It was easy to get caught up.
Right, you said it, right? You said it. I know for a man how easy it is.
It was the idea of it, not it.
Right, just being high on her.
Right.
As opposed to viewing what's...
Well, and again, dating for a year long distance, like, yeah, it's easy to be solid when you're only seeing someone 3 times a month, 4 times a month. It's different seeing them every day.
No, fools do not agree.
No?
Because it is still hard to be solid if you're only seeing somebody.
Fair.
You know what I mean?
No, I know
because
what you mean.
You have other opportunities that come along within that time frame. So in order to remain solid, you have to have a certain conviction with that person.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. I also think that, to your point on opportunities, that goes back to what I talked about in terms of, if I could go back and change one thing about myself, I put myself out there more.
You beat your meat more.
Yeah,
no, you beat your meat less. I beat
you do it more. But again, that comes back to the same idea.
I put myself out there less.
Right.
You put yourself out there more. But I think I was never a whore.
No.
I turned down at least 3 times more than I've ever accepted.
Yeah.
But I was also open to fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I would also go into a situation understanding that nothing's gonna come of this.
Right.
And that was not always the case.
Yeah.
I.e. the love of my life, my baby, but you don't think about the future in hindsight.
No.
Especially when you're caught up in a situation.
I agree with that.
And the situation may not be love for that person, but love for the situation.
Right.
You know what I mean? I enjoy that you enjoy the same things that I... Yep. It's not... We're not going to get the jump that you're looking for. But at the moment, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The car's running fine.
Right.
So it's like, that's exactly why I would beat my meat more, because that's whenever I get invited or whenever I invite myself and am accepted on the invite, I always say, rub one out real quick.
Yeah.
And if you still want it after you rub one out, then go handle that.
Right.
But if you don't, sit your motherfucking ass down.
Not, yeah.
Right. You're just on a fleeting emotion, a little horny, for lack of a better word, and you're not thinking about the consequences that could come of your actions.
Right.
So rub one out and see if you still feel that way.
Yeah. No doubt.
Now, don't get me wrong. I've skipped a very vital step of that process a time or two. But the stove was hot, right? So I beat my meat more now. You feel me?
I don't know if you feel me is the appropriate ask.
Right.
After talking about just beating your meat.
Listen, I feel me.
There you go. I feel
know?
me. Oh, man.
But yeah, nah, as far as like acting a fool 101 for a lot of people out there that would not understand the phrase like we would.
Right.
Does not mean that you do you without the thought of other people's emotions in mind.
No, but it's how do you live your truth and still be I don't even know if respectful is the right word,
no,
but
it's not about being. It's not about being. I guess it is being respectful.
yeah, there's a.
But
there's
I know what
another
you're.
word there.
Saying.
Being okay with whatever that result is.
Oh, I'm glad you said that. Listen, that's what I was getting at when I was bringing up the Steph Curry show with Aisha Curry, and I know I made that point with Dennis Rodman in the Carmen Electra, but there was a Bobby Lee was. Have you seen his wife or his fiance Kalila? Mm-mm. She's a baddie. Like he's hitting way above his average.
He's batting out of his league.
And on the show, one of the questions was, if you and your significant other changed bodies for a day, what would be the first thing you would touch on the significant other? And they had to draw it out on a chalkboard.
Okay.
They both got it right. They both picked foot. And his girl said, I don't have a foot fetish. The reason why I said foot was because Bobby has a fungus-riddled big toe that he will not get treated because he said itching is a hobby. And she said, I would love to just put a Brillo. Anybody who doesn't know Bobby Lee, look him up. Right? That's somebody that's clearly himself at all times. Like, has multiple times on his podcast admitted to sucking a dick back in high school. And as much as that would weird me out normally, I kind of liked him more for it.
Okay.
Because there was kind of like a strength behind it.
Right.
Like, almost like Eminem. Once I give you all the points that you can hit me on,
with, yeah.
There's nothing else that you can...
8 Mile it.
Right, there's nothing else you can do to me. But what I'm getting at is when he said that...
Obviously, I'm a fan of that strategy for anybody that knows me and saw
You got the 8 Mile, right? Because he still had punchlines for Papa Doc. It wasn't just all on him. So, that's what I will say. But what I'm getting at is when he explained it, everybody was all grossed out, right? And like, you know, all the girls were like, let me see your foot, because he had open-toed sandals on. And that was another thing. The fact that I couldn't see it as bad as you were describing it let me know that it wasn't as bad as... Yeah. But here's the thing, right? So at the end, they won. Bobby and his girl won, so they had to... So they were like doing the whole thing like, well, okay, now it's time for you to go against us. So you have the opportunity to beat the Currys. And he was like, I would love to beat the Currys. And one of the contestants was like, that sounded a little sexual, like you were. And she said, well, shit, can I join in? Like, and I was thinking to myself, like, of course she said that because of Steph Curry. But the fact that Bobby is so comfortable with himself also comes off as attractive to a lot of people. And even people that would think that they aren't attractive, when you find somebody that's that comfortable with themselves,
absolutely,
you become intrigued, like, well, damn, why? Or what is it that you know that I don't? Or, you know, even if it's a teach me situation, you end up coming up with a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow if she's Irish.
And I mean, at the end of the day...
Or if she's Ukrainian.
That...
no, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think that's the difference between even, like, me in college and me now.
What?
It's the confidence level.
Right, okay.
Like, I've done all this. I'm comfortable with where I'm at. I'm good. You can either add to it and be a part of it, and under my fucking terms, or not. And I'm not gonna sweat it either way.
Yeah, I've never had an issue with confidence.
No, you haven't.
I remember Mom used to be like, "How do you get girls in this car, in this apartment, in whatever?" And I used to be like, I don't give a fuck.
I just don't care.
And they clearly realize I don't get.
Well, and I think that's really what it comes down to.
Go ahead, but I don't give a fuck.
What I will say on that level, in terms of the confidence breeds confidence. Confidence breeds comfort as well. Meaning that if someone sees you and sees that you're confident, that you are, like, it's disarming.
Right. Yeah, I guess that is the case. Because I don't care if my car is beat up. I don't care what it looks like. Are we going or not? I'll be over there to pick you up, but I'd much rather you drive.
just to be clear, this gas money getting low.
Listen, I'll tell you that, and I got a dent in my door, so it only opens up halfway. You're going to have to slide in that motherfucker. I remember sweeping off potato chip bags from the back seat to lay somebody down.
I did something, not quite that, but I did something similar.
Like,
where
get this trash out the way. Let me get this moved.
Hopped in the car the other day, and they were going to use the cup holder, and there was like a couple of empties sitting there from like pop bottles or whatever, and I just picked them up, threw them in the back.
I mean, but listen. And if we get back there later, I'll knock these bottles off the seat.
Lay down the back.
Right, you'll be all right. Fuck.
So I do want to hit the chat real quick. So we had the Reeds chiming in with the fact that she loves The Rock, circling back to the Dwayne Johnson conversation.
Oh, Reach, nobody wants to see his ass anymore. Neither do you.
Beth also jumping in with agreeing with the Reeds.
The Rock?
Yep. And then superfan Amanda, who gave us the cake.
It was good, too.
Was it?
It was.
It was.
He said, was it? It was.
I was making sure that you were saying that it was good. Andrew and I devoured our portion.
Oh, I know Andrew did.
But she chimed in with your whole beating your meat before you go. She says that's called the wisdom wank.
Well, I don't have wisdom, so it's the wank for me. I'm still trying to save that up in my file cabinet, a little wisdom.
I think you're wiser than you let on, sir. I've trusted your counsel for many years.
Maybe. It just comes from a different place.
Well, that's fair.
I guess you could say. Wise? I don't know. I could be completely wrong. But I could also be completely right for myself.
Wisdom is street smarts. Wisdom is common sense. Wisdom is
Is
seeing
it?
a situation
I feel
for
like
what it is.
I feel like wisdom is more experience.
I think it can be driven by experience, but I think intuition plays just as big a...
You can have intelligence. You can have IQ, but I don't know if you can have wisdom. Brady ends up having wisdom. Herbert ends up having intelligence.
Fair. I think where I'm maybe different on that is like the term we use on where I've coached is like football smarts.
Right.
What's your intuition to get to where you need to be?
I see that as IQ.
I see that more on like instinct and intuition being more wisdom than IQ.
Okay, so you put that.
But
in that
you could
category.
be, but you could be right. Like
because I feel like
it's funny. We talk about this in D&D all the time. The difference between intelligence and wisdom because they're two different stats.
Oh, right. See, I feel like you get a 6-year-old who's never played football can have great angles, great reads on a play.
Yeah.
That doesn't equal to wisdom to me because you've never played before.
Right.
That equals to your IQ of the game.
I think that's fair because I would say
things that they don't see, but that doesn't mean you know more than they know.
Right.
They have wisdom. You just have natural instincts.
I think that's fair because I would put A-Reg in that camp when it comes to like playing defense really in any sport.
Right. So with that being said, I think I'm still developing my wisdom. I think I just now got to the point of acknowledging I had a fucked up way of thinking.
Which would be wisdom.
Before.
Self-awareness is wisdom.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. I just now got to that point. Before.
Right now on the show, actually.
Listen, right. You're
right
not
after
lying.
he fucked a Ukrainian girl.
No, the wisdom came after what happened. I'm just playing after Russia invaded the relationship. But I can only hope that one day I'm wise. But I will wank whether there's wisdom involved or not. Understand that. And if I don't still feel it,
it's time to go to bed.
Yeah. This was just Netflix. There was no chill involved.
There's no chill. Sometimes you need that.
Listen, this was just a Hulu night for me. You feel me? I feel me.
I feel like this is where you say, "What were we talking about?"
Exactly. Before the
Currys.
Oh yeah, the confidence and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta be confident in your decision.
Right.
That's Fool's 101, acting a fool 101. You can be a fool as much as you want to be, but be confident in that foolish decision that you're making.
Right. And I don't know.
And that's
you have to stand behind it,
that's...
or can you change your mind?
No.
Can you be confident in the decision and then...
That's every sexual experience I've ever had.
Say more.
And the second time, I definitely knew what I was doing.
Hey, man. I'll try anything twice just to make sure.
Right. I can't say the first time I didn't know what I was doing. I questioned myself. In the process. So you weren't
acting a fool the first time. It was.
Oh, no. It was still very foolish. But see, that's the thing, is that with me, I have a foolish autopilot.
This I can agree with.
Right? So if I already have it made up in my mind that I'm gonna do or partake or whatever, even if I find out throughout the evening that I probably don't want to, it's too late.
The decision's already been made.
We're already locked in. Target's locked.
There is no abort code at this point.
I'm now the ghost of Kayev. You hear what I'm saying? Target's locked. Nothing I can do about it.
We're in. That's what she said.
But I'm saying though, like when I say after every sexual experience, it's that Lil Wayne shit that as soon as I come to my senses. It's like, damn, like, fuck, why did you do that? Like, you should not have done that, and you did it. Why'd you do it? And the devil in me's like, it's all right. It was fun. And then the angel in me's like, wait a couple days. You'll see what I'm talking about.
Meanwhile, the devil in me is like, can we go again?
You know what? But I'm not saying that. I don't. I'm lying. Because I was about to say, I'm not saying that I wouldn't like that. It's the damage is done. Might as well go again. As long as it's in the same, and as long as you catch me before that set-in phase happens. Because once the set-in phase happens, I don't care if you are a 13 out of 10.
God, that you gonna kill him no more.
Like how do I get out of here as a gentleman, right? Like without being like, all right.
Well, bye.
Right, like you kind of gotta be like, well.
See, that's where you go through. You take care of her again.
No.
See, this is why I have repeat business.
You're taking care of. Hopefully, you're asleep.
So that you can just roll over and roll.
You know? If you're asleep, then I can just... Or I might tap you. I'm leaving. You don't wake up.
See, that's where you got to put time limits on things.
You got to unlock the door on your hands. I don't know what to tell you, but I suggest you get dressed in case your neighbors wander in. Yeah, no, I don't know. Wisdom wanks.
Wisdom wanks.
I don't think I wank either.
You beat.
Fuck it.
I said, fuck it. Knee-High Park is a vastly underrated skit on Chappelle's Show.
The what?
Knee-High Park is a vastly underrated skit on Chappelle's Show.
What is Knee-High Park? Is that the Sesame Street episode?
Uh-huh.
Okay, see, you know the fucking...
With Q-Tip and everything.
Mm-hmm. It was Q-Tip,
It was.
It was Snoop Dogg and Q-Tip.
Yeah. I have what is venereal disease. Mm-hmm. How'd you get that? From fucking. Mm-hmm. And then the puppet drops his pants down.
He had that long, bumpy dick.
Oozing.
But if I see another post of a kid without a nose or, some crazy shit like, hey, wish me a happy birthday, I'm gonna report the post.
You're gonna report it?
I'm gonna report the post. I'm going to report that child's birthday.
It's a hate crime.
That doesn't get... And it's like everyone, no arms, no face. Face hanging off, skin condition. Like, it's like don't you know I have friends?
Right.
Why are my friends not showing up on my feed and you gotta put...
The algorithm, man. Algae rhythm.
Listen, well, I don't know who Algie is, but I'm gonna fuck him up when I see him. You hear what I'm
Wasn't
saying?
that the main bad guy from Space Jam, the latest one?
Oh yeah.
Wasn't that Don Cheadle?
We had a Hit the Showers podcast and we was talking about Space Jam 2 and Malcolm said 101 or something like that, and I said, listen, if that was who he was fighting, that'd be a whole new virus that he had to deal with in that computer.
You know what the cure for AIDS is? It's $100 million liquefied cold hard cash.
Listen, it's money. Fuck that. You don't gotta melt it down. Just have it.
There've been positive results on an HIV vaccine recently.
I saw the AIDS. I saw the lady that got cured of AIDS.
Yeah.
But it wasn't from a vaccine. It was from something else. It was like natural something. And that's why I thought it was odd. Like, oh, okay, so you're naturally overcoming AIDS. Isn't that weird?
That's a little weird.
The guy that got sued by the United States government for claiming that he could cure AIDS naturally and won the lawsuit dies and naturally, and we're just accepting that shit.
I mean, I don't know if anybody's accepting it, but
I mean, but it's factual. Like they've had her tested, right? Like, well, I don't know. Factual is it like she might have snuck a. What can you sneak? There's no AIDS vaccine.
Question of whether or not she had it to begin with, or
I don't know. From the article, everything seemed pretty legit.
Seemed legit.
But it just was so odd to me that that shit happened like 6 years ago?
Something like that.
He just died 6 years ago. Now the lawsuit took place I think over like 15 years ago about claiming to have cured people but that was his whole point of life. Like he had books saying the holistic, it's all kinds of shit.
Not to put the trash in your body to begin with, I'm sure.
And all of it stemmed from an alkaline. Balance your alkaline levels. He was basically saying that nothing can survive in your body.
The appropriate balance.
AIDS, cancer, whatever it is. So basically, how he was curing people were finding their proper alkaline level in long enough that it killed off the virus that was associated. But now all of a sudden, a young lady and whatever, everything in your power to make sure it wasn't reported on when he was talking about it.
Well, we don't care about it anymore, so people can say whatever they want.
If HIV is more
Gotcha.
beyond transmittable, like the issue, like they say, if you catch this, you're dead in a couple months. Like there is no, like even AIDS.
Why you got me rethinking my whole life now?
Even AIDS doesn't kill you in some other country.
About new COVID variants being sexually transmitted. I have to worry about.
Well, I don't know how many Africans you fucking came up in Russia. They'd be like, it came from Africa though.
That's where it originated.
Right.
Or China.
Nah, I ain't gonna babies just so this doesn't. Nah, we need more men so they don't do the for one.
So, I don't know.
It's something crazy. There's not enough women, so
Yes, you'd want one.
oh,
just like these females on the apps.
all I'm saying is point me to the 3 that I gotta fight, take out, or whatever the case may be. And all I'm saying is it's not going to be enough dudes that's going to be able to compete physically for those women, which ends up dropping off the male populace, and then we even back out. So what I'm saying is, I don't know. All men could be just as bad if you put... Now, all men would be harmony.
Yeah, that was St. Charles.
All men would be harmony.
There are no cliques at an all-boys school.
Really?
Not really. I mean, yeah.
Really?
I could sit anywhere in the cafeteria and be welcomed by any group.
But you're different.
No, but what I'm saying is, like, I kind of felt that way about, like, anybody at that school could. Because cliques develop around women. It's true.
I do agree with that, but at the same time, I can't say that thinking back to my high school self.
Now, don't get me wrong, like, was not, like, super friendly with, like, the lacrosse dudes, but there were dudes on the lacrosse team where I'm like...
Right. Okay, now I'm following. I mean, I still stand by my statement, all men is harmony. Once you start, even if you throw a fleshlight in the room.
The problem is I also think all women would be harmony. I think it's when we have both genders.
Are you fucking crazy? Women on women shit is worse than men on women. Like, they
But
talk
that's
about...
because of men. Designed that way. We pit them against one another for that reason.
It matter if men were around or not. Women would still be
I need somebody from CSG to call in. Where's Dominique?
Still be talking about who had the best body. We hate that bitch. She has the perkiest tits, the roundest ass, and it's no men around to compliment her, but we still hate her. She has everything we want. It's all women. No, no. There's no harmony in women being around women.
Especially that time of the month when they're all synced up.
There's no heart. And I don't care what that sounds like. I don't care who's upset about it. There is no harmony with women around women. Men around men could still create harmony because men would still have a set of rules. You know, well, I don't mean, I'm sure women would too, but there would be consequence to the rules, right? With women, there's no consequence because there's no higher power. Like, yeah, there'll always be a bigger woman that's stronger than them, but that doesn't mean that woman is thinking the way the men think. Like, well, it's my job to keep them in line.
Right. It's not the go take out the baddest one in the yard mentality.
Men always think, well, he's the guy.
Right.
Then I either want him, and the only issue is going to be between me and him.
Right.
Or it's going to be a situation where you have a group of people teaming up to take him down.
Right.
But either way, it's only him and them. It's not us and them.
See, the only place where I argue with that
and that them breaks up once him goes down.
Yeah.
So we team up to take down Brock Lesnar. Once Brock Lesnar's taken down, now it's me and you having an issue.
You know what's interesting? So, A-Reg has been, he's gotten into pro wrestling a little bit. And we've been watching the Royal Rumbles recently because it was just the Royal Rumble.
Who's that new thick white girl? She didn't have an ass, but she's thick.
Liv Morgan?
That might be her. Uh-huh.
I think that's Liv Morgan.
She's pretty athletic.
Yeah, she is.
But she's a thicker...
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But anyways, it's funny you bring that up because you see, like, even in something fake like professional wrestling, the women team up for like half a second to eliminate somebody, but then immediately turn back on one another.
Right.
Whereas the men, to your point, like, I was watching, I think it was one from 3 or 4 years ago, like John Cena came in the ring and every single dude turned and just beat the fuck out of John Cena for 30 seconds. Like, so you may be onto something there. Like, even when art imitates, it's that whole life imitates art, imitates life.
Oh, you're the guy?
Right.
I gotta take you out.
But the women, they don't get to that point. Like, that same scenario doesn't play out in the women's Royal Rumble. So you might be right.
Oh, I am.
I know you think
and I don't care if there's 150 women out there saying, fuck him, you're wrong. Let me lock you in a room with your family, the women in your family, and let's see how long you last.
So I am getting some things that aren't in the chat, so I don't know if I'm going to read them, but we're like that because we're in competition for the D. Once women feel like they don't have to compete for men, they
Well,
aren't
no.
like that.
Well, no.
That's why you see Themyscira in Wonder Woman. It's harmony.
Well, how many gays are there out there?
Fair.
How
What do
many
you mean?
strap-ons are there out? Like that's not
It's
the
still the
case
same
because
thing.
I see it. You know, I have a cousin who is gay. I see it in their.
And they're that
Circle.
mentality, yeah.
I see it specific, and there's no dick there. You can make one, but
Right.
there's logs everywhere. You can sand down a log and make a strap-on. Primitive times. Get a couple vines to wrap around your ass.
Maybe a polished stone.
Right, the stone probably would be better, but it's porous. It's too porous. No, I'm just playing. But I'm saying, regardless, it's not just. You can't just say it's the fight for the man or the dick or whatever the case. Maybe the fight for the reproduction.
There you go.
No, I
Well,
can see it being that.
Yeah.
And back in the day, you fought for the best man to reproduce with.
Right. Well, I think that's still
Not
the case.
necessarily fight, but you fought with your essence.
Well, I still think that that's genetics. Like, I think that's genetically hardwired into us, going back
Right.
to us being animals, is the fact that, like, there's a desire to procreate. It's innate.
Right.
You want to give that offspring the best chance. The best chance may not be you going after the alpha male because you know you can't compete for that. Could be going for 2 or 3 steps down because that's going to give yours the best chance that is attainable.
Right. Yeah, I
And
guess
I think
that
that's
could be it in
human
a
nature.
shorthand. But Fools 101 would say, don't fight, just share.
The same person says, yes, Cliff is right.
I'm just saying.
Superfan is fired for agreeing with Cliff.
Listen, you giving out too much information. I'm just saying. I've seen it firsthand. I know how it goes. You can't fool me.
There you go. All right, what you got to take us out, sir?
Keep a cock or a strap on. And wank it before you lose your wisdom. We love you.
Folks,
Love everybody.
Do us a favor. Smash that like, share, subscribe. You know, we're sitting right below 100 subscribers on YouTube. Somebody do us a favor. Get us over that hump. If you are already a fan on YouTube and you're watching us live, do us a favor, download the podcast, whether that's on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Help us out. And with that, peace out, fools.
Peace out, fools.